This is Lansdowne Road, the voice of the fans, and this is the squad reaction, albeit a little bit later than we'd like to give it to you. But here we are. David Dunn here, joined by Conor McAvoy. And of course, before we get started, if you haven't already, please do like the video. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. Head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and our Twitter account. Head over to lansdowneroad.ie. And if you're listening to us on Spotify or watching us on Spotify, please do give us a 5-star review. It really, really does help, and we really appreciate your support. And if you want to support us a little bit further, head over to Lansdowne Roar Plus. You want a little bit of extra roar on your cornflakes in the morning, you can support us. $4.99 per month. We have some extra content. We've got a state of play coming up in a couple of days. Well, actually, a couple of hours, probably. We're going to have one of those coming out. Of course, that's all things. It's not
Team of the week as well.
Irish football team of the week as well from Conor, and we're going to rustle you something up from the archives as well for the Raw Retro for the International Week that, of course, has kind of started. Really starts next on Monday, but we're kind of in it now anyway. But yeah, it's $4.99. That's in the description below, and that's where whatever currency you're in. It really does help, and it keeps us going. Right, let's get into it, Conor. Of course, we're the day after. We were going to do this the day of the squad, but then we thought, well, calendars didn't match up, and then it was a case of, do you know what? Let's give it a couple of hours. Let's give it a little while for it to settle, to digest, and see if there's any little stories that come out in the dailies and some extra quotes and comments and various things that we can sift through. And we've had a couple of interesting ones of note. But I suppose what I'm really asking is, how are you?
I'm great. I'm buzzing.
Oh, look at his little face! Are you asking how he is?
Thought you weren't going to ask, because we always see Martin's always first thing he
always
does
ask.
before he does. Martin that asks before he doesn't even does his intro. But no, it's good to be back on to speak about the squad ahead of the week. It's probably the least I've looked forward to a squad announcement, in all honesty, in the last year or so, because in all reality, the Under-17 World Cup has kind of took my priority at the moment in terms of excitement, and it's hard to have the same excitement for everything at once, is it, Dave? And that's probably more upbeat in terms of Irish football at the moment. I was saying to someone yesterday, wouldn't it be great if we could just remove our international senior team and just have our underage teams as our focus forever, and we'd be doing great. We'd be qualifying for tournaments. We could go have great times at tournaments abroad if it was just underage football. But no, I'm good, and it is. The excitement will always be there now that we are in International Week. Obviously a few disappointments with Jess squad and stuff, but I'm relatively happy to be back on, and hopefully it'll be a big weekend club football for some lads. And if Ferguson etc. can't make the squad, there'll be a few lads that can justify a place coming in off the standby list.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna have a little look at the squad now. Actually, and then we're gonna sit through the wreckage. Yeah, very. Let's have a look at the squad. Of course, in goal, we have Queeping Gallagher, Gavin Basino, Mark Travers. No arguments there whatsoever. In defence, we have Seamus Coleman, Jacob Bryan, Darragh O'Shea, Nathan Collins, who's the captain now, I suppose. Liam Scales, John Egan, Ryan Manning, Jimmy Dunn comes back in, and Kevin O'Toole of New York City FC or something. Midfielders, what's it?
That's what you call them, yeah, you're right.
New York City FC, okay. Midfielders, Josh Cullen, Jack Taylor, Jason Malumbi, Finn Azaz, Conor Coventry, Mark Sykes, Andrew Moran. Up front is Evan Ferguson, Alameda, Troy Parrott, Mikey Johnson, Chidozie Ogbeni, and Festi Bissella. Now, of course, one thing to note, other than the Kevin O'Toole thing, which we're going to touch on in a second, Conor, is that 3 of those players are injured. Evan Ferguson, who might feature for Roma on Sunday. Mark Sykes has a knock, and Jason Malumbi also is carrying an injury. But he's rammed them right into the squad.
Yeah. Malumbi hasn't played been near on this stage. He played the first game back after the international break, and it was due to, and he actually came back injured from the international break, but they don't think they realised. Brian Mason said, I think I've said it before on the show, that he says the enthusiasm you have when you're playing for your country and stuff, sometimes you don't realise that you're injured because there's so much adrenaline and passion in it. And Jason didn't realise how bad it was until he actually went and played the first game back with West Brom, and then he hasn't been fit to play since. I thought he'd be back at this stage. I know he's back on the grass, but I don't know if he's back in team training that he'll play tomorrow or not. But it is not. I know technically he will have until next Sunday to be ready, which because next week's international break is quite crammed when you think of it. It's Thursday, Sunday rather than usually it's a Thursday, Tuesday where it goes across maybe a 10-day period. But yeah, he's not great with injury. I see him just making sure here at the moment. Mark Sykes is definitely out injured for Bristol City tonight. I think he got a very bad cut to his shin the other night on midweek in their midweek game, which has ruled him out. But I'm guessing really his injury. It's not like a muscle injury. He's done his hamstring or he's done his groin or so. It's the sort of thing. It just needs to heal, and he can't really. I think it's just he's probably in a bit of his leg will be a bit of pain that he can't run or something. Which you think it maybe just a couple of days. His thing is nothing he can do other than rest it. So I can understand why he's obviously in the squad because and he is doing quite well at club level. And then Evan Ferguson, I'm still very skeptical about him being in the squad because the poor fella's not fit. He won't be fit even if he's playing. And we know he's the main man. And the more I think of it, I was thinking actually in the shower this morning, he's going to start no matter what. Like if he's anyway fit, he's going to start him no matter what because he's our main man as such. And
if he's on crutches, he's going to throw him on there, isn't he?
Yeah,
get up there, Evan, for the last 10
play
minutes.
him like if he doesn't play on Sunday for Roma, I just don't know, Dave, to be honest, because I don't know if a 75% Evan Ferguson, if even that's what he would be, can offer us what we need really in these sort of games. Because I don't think a 75% Evan Ferguson is what a type of player we need when we play against the likes of Portugal, where it's going to be very defensive stuff. But I can't complain too much. Like we want to see Evan in the squad. Like I think we're all happy. Like we all were happy to look at the squad list yesterday and see Ferguson's name in it. And I know he is training this week, but like he didn't play last night against Rangers, which was good to see Roma get the win anyway. Like if he's on the bench on Sunday, if he plays 30 minutes off the bench like Troy Parton did in the last game before the last break, I can understand him coming straight into the squad. But if he's not involved on Sunday, I would question it slightly because the reality is the club pays wages. The club will be very annoyed if he comes back in and gets injured with Ireland, or because they were very annoyed after the last international break, weren't they?
Well, he's not going to be 100% fit for the window, no matter what. If he's injured, if he's that bad, he's not featuring. The club obviously, apparently, reportedly aren't too happy about it. That's not the players' fault. People go, "Oh, good man, Evan." No, he has no say over that. If the association call him up, I'm not having a go Evan Ferguson, by the way, but if the association call him up, the club can't stop him. They can't actually stop you. They'll get into trouble with FIFA. The new rules, well, they're not new anymore. So yeah, that's probably not helped Evan, to be honest with you. Yeah, obviously Mark Sykes has been doing well for Bristol, but he's out at the moment as well. But Jason Malumbi, you have to kind of laugh at a bit. Here's a guy that couldn't feature in the last few squads, and now he can't seem to do without him. Just seems to kind of feed into that inconsistency that we've had under this manager. Like, just seems to.
He's our main man in midfield now.
Yeah, man couldn't get in the last couple of squads, bar the last one as well. It's a poor squad. It's underwhelming, isn't it? A little bit. I mean, I think
we go through the defenders, goalkeepers to see what we're happy with. Dave, will we just go through positions?
Yeah,
goalkeepers. You can't. We all think, like, I know Martin actually has been quite vocal that he wants Travers out of the squad for Keeley because he's thinking of the future. But you have to take a bit of consistency, I do think, in the squad, and keeping them three together is probably what the coaching staff will look at as why would we change the keepers at this stage? Well, if we're going to change them, we'll wait until the next maybe campaign or March or when a tournament comes around, which I don't think we can play with. But the defenders, Dave, are you happy with? Before we talk about Kevin, we'll go with Kevin Toole after we go through the rest of the defenders. Is there any other defenders that you're quite disappointed in? Obama played 90 minutes last night. I know he missed out in the weekend because he picked up what was a small knock in training, but then he's basically played he's played every single game between now and the last international break bar last Sunday. So and reality is they're playing twice a week with Europe and stuff. So he's playing I know he doesn't start both games in the week. They're kind of build his minutes up. He kind of plays, and he's usually playing 90 in Europe and then maybe 30 in the league. So he's getting maybe 120 minutes a week. And that's you'd say the second or third best team in France at the moment. So it is quite disappointing not to see, but I can understand with the way our defenders are quite, but I don't know, what would you have brought Omar Bamadelli in? Any other defenders you would have been happy to bring in?
I mean, with Omar Bamadelli, I kind of get it because obviously he's So I'm just getting some stats up here in front of me. But obviously, with he's only getting back into it, and I can understand that. Maybe look, let him just see out the rest of, maybe keep him away from the squad just for the end of this campaign. And that's no big issue. That's nothing against Andrew Amabamadeli. I know I said I thought with all his injuries, he's going to end up retiring young. I hope I'm wrong. I really hope I'm wrong on that one. But if he does manage to get himself back in, I know how talented this boy is. He's a ball-playing centre-half. He's really, really massive potential. And I really hope he puts on gets a nice run on the team now, injury-free. And then hopefully next March, I imagine there'll be friendly matches. They won't be playoff matches, in my opinion. And then we get him back into the team, whoever comes in after that, because obviously I presume Hamer, if we don't qualify, he's out of a job. So I kind of get that. The Kevin O'Toole thing, like, I don't get that. I know he's a left back / midfielder. He's a 26-year-old who, I've never really heard of. I don't watch American football. And you're thinking, right, he's playing in week out in the MLS, which people seem to think is a really high standard, as a decent standard of football. But then you have someone like Samuel Garcia McNulty, who is a left-sided centre back, can also play as a left back. Maybe not as forward venturing as Kevin O'Toole, because obviously he's an attack-minded left back. But you kind of have to look at, if you're as Samuel Garcia McNulty, you're playing week in and week out in the Eredivisie, right? And you were made captain, albeit he wasn't made permanent captain, was he?
It was just for a cup game.
Yeah, fair. But he's still in the thing, so maybe he's second or third down the list to be the next captain, like vice captain. So that goes to show you what they think of him. And yet, if you're him, you're thinking, what do I have to do to get into this squad? If you're Will Ferry, you must be thinking you're playing in the SPFL. I've never seen him play. You rave on about him, and I'll trust your opinion on a player. And you're thinking, if you're those guys, what do you have to do? They're eligible. They're ready to play. Yet, apparently, we chased this guy for a year. He no disrespect to Kevin O'Toole, but he's the big reveal. We were talking about Louis Barry coming into the team. Still no sign of him coming into the squad. Kieran Dewsbury Hall, apparently they were chasing him. He's come out and said no. You've heard of all these players. We're hoping to get some of these lads. Dennis Serkin, Dublin born, but apparently that's just not going to happen. And then you think, this guy, Kevin O'Toole, I don't get it. Do you? You kissed your teeth there when I said Louis Barry coming into the squad. Why did you do that?
No, maybe I was just kissing my teeth anyway.
Why did you do that? What's your Freudian slip?
Don't know. No, I'm just the Kevin O'Toole thing just doesn't add up to me.
No,
I'm just very confused. I'm just very, very confused, Dave. I just do not know what, because the thing of Garcia McNulty, because his thing is he's a centre half reality. He's like that Liam Scales type, and it's like bringing in. I do think his ceiling obviously is better than Liam Scales, but I think if he's going to come in for someone, it would be a Scales, not for one of the full backs. Because the reality is, we're going to play a 5-4-1. And if Kevin O'Toole is going to start, which there is a reality he could start, because Manning can't play the first game, are you going to play Liam Scales wing back, which I'd rather probably play O'Toole wing back than a Scales, or Jimmy Dunn over on the left, or you play Coleman on the left and Dunn on the right, or Mark Sykes at left wing back, which is an option because he's played there before club level. But yeah, I don't understand it. 1 goal and 1 assist this season in the MLS, which I know you can't really judge off stats because we're not watching play. Like, the reality is, I knew he was eligible for Ireland. I knew he was an option for Ireland in the past because I know he had spoke about it publicly. I think a picture of him with Seamus, if you remember, during the summer where Seamus posted for Ireland to call him up. And I didn't actually think he was ever going to be a reality of choice. If you remember, maybe John Gallagher a couple of seasons ago was an MLS All-Star as a left wing back, so he was one of the best wing backs in the league in MLS, and he never even got a shot with Ireland, even got a call up once, and he was born in Ireland. He obviously would have came straight into the camp and would have been said maybe was playing a lot better if he's getting called up to the All-Star squad. So this just doesn't, it's a bit of a shock to me, and I don't understand why Will Ferry is not getting called up before him. Will Ferry had multiple bids in the summer rejected by Vancouver FC. No, sorry, was it the summer or January? No, the summer. Sorry, the summer, and like they finished top of the Eastern Conference, which New York City FC are in, and they won. Like if you're finishing top of your conference, you're to be a top team in MLS, you have to be a very good side. Like they're the equivalent to LAFC in the East. And why has he not been picked? The quotes this morning that came out about that he didn't think Will Ferry did more time to be an international. He needs more time with us to become an What does that mean? He needs more time with us, and then you don't pick him. I'm so confused. Like the thing is, I
He
rate
needs more
Ferry have
time to
said,
be.
yeah,
It needs to be. He needs more time to be an international. But Kevin O'Toole apparently is ready to go, baby. He's
yeah.
plug
But,
and
but the thing
play.
is, he said Will Ferry needs to spend more time with the squad to be an international. What does that mean? Will Ferry will have like thing is, Will Ferry's not going to be at Dundee United after next summer. He's the club captain. If you look at his stats, his ratings every game, he's up and down. Every time I've seen him play, been very very impressive. And I know the MLS is a better league than the Scottish league, but there's a reason the best team in the Eastern Conference of the MLS wanted Will Ferry. I do think next summer he's in for a good move, whether it could be actually to the MLS or maybe a very good championship side or of that sort. So I think he's been badly messed over with this. Callum O'Dowda's injured again. He's the lost cause at this stage. I'm sorry, Martin. He's always bloody injured.
Yeah.
And he's only playing like 60 minutes a week and he somehow keeps getting injured. Like Josh Honahan, he said, would have been, like he said Josh Honahan would have been in the squad if he was fit. So basically he is saying a League of Ireland left wing back Josh Honahan would have been in the squad over MLS player who the MLS is a better league. So you're saying the League of Ireland player is better than the MLS player, which the MLS is a better league than the League of Ireland. So that shows you how lowly he must
But
think of Kevin O'Toole.
but couldn't get a game against Luxembourg.
Yeah, that was crazy, isn't it? It's madness. Yeah, and then I just don't. And then he was saying he wanted to have Kevin O'Toole in the May squad. Was that the squad that was meant to be for the championship players? I believe. I think that was meant to be for the squad, and they want to have American people in that. Like, I don't know. It's just so confusing. Like, I don't know whether it's a loss in translation thing with some of these things, but some of the stuff he was saying. Like, we'll get on to the rest of the positions, but in terms of defend, I'm just confused here. It just doesn't. Everything doesn't seem all right. Like I didn't think like I thought they might have put something like before it about Kevin O'Toole getting in the squad like they used to do with other players when they used to call him up for the first time. Like it just was very quiet, and you just seen his name on the list, and you're saying, "Oh, New York City, yes." Like, is he just not going to play? Is he just going to come in, be there for the experience that he? The thing is, he's on about for the future. Kevin O'Toole's what 26, so it's not like he's a 20-year-old or an 18-year-old that's an up and coming star like that. The US national team really want him as well, and it's the sort of thing that he's an Irish American, and we want to show him that we really want him, so America don't get the chance to call him up. But I'm just confused, Dave, because yeah, I think Will Ferry's been badly messed over here.
Like I mean, yet again, this harks back to the whole Luxembourg game. In June, that was the time to experiment. That's the time to get you Kevin O'Toole in. Now, maybe his paperwork wasn't ready until then. I don't know, because I know his grandfather's from Blackrock. That's where that happened. Then he went over to New Jersey, New Jersey. There's no consistency. There's no plan. I'll continue. I'll expand on that when we get through the rest of the players, on that, because I have some very strong opinion, as I always do, on this whole thing, and I'm left puzzled, confused, and I feel for some of the players. Yeah, what message are you giving out to the other players? I don't get it. But look, let's go through the midfielders and the attack, and then we'll go back on and look at the squad as a whole and where we're going. Midfield, obviously, Josh Cullen. He's suspended for the first game, isn't he?
No, it's Malumbi just.
Malumbi suspended, sorry, for the first game. Yeah, look, Josh Cullen, okay, he's playing week in, week out with mixed results, shall we say, in the Premier League.
He's doing, in fairness, he's doing it's the best his season he's had so far in terms of Premier League compared to the last one. I have to say he's really, really stepped it up this season. But Burnley's midfield plays a completely different way in the Premier League than Ireland does. Ireland sits off you, Burnley are more aggressive.
Is there any, obviously, probably the player should have started on there, Andrew Moran. You must be delighted. After slagging off the MLS, now we're going to be like all over the MLS. MLS is a great league. Oh, yeah.
No, I didn't say, I did say, I said, no, I didn't slag off. We didn't actually slag off the MLS. We are just sort of thinking you're saying a League of Ireland left back is better than MLS left back. So Kevin O'Toole's going to do all these great. Like, would you not call up another League of Ireland left back then if that's the case? that not make more sense? And I think actually
You-
forgot to say about Honan. He said Honan is on standby, but he's not picked because he's had injuries. But he's only missed like 10 days, a week and a half, and he's going to play for Rovers on Sunday in the Cup. So is that really a justification, or is that
Yeah.
just an excuse of why you didn't want to pick Honan? But yeah, the midfields are great to see Conor Coventry come in. Obviously, he's the one that has. I think this is the first time Conor Coventry's actually officially been named in a squad, Dave. He's always, every time he's come in, I think in the past, he's been like them late call ups where someone's pulled out, like Cullen when he got suspended for the Armenia game. So it's good to see Coventry's deserved this call up because he's been superb for Charlton. But the reality is he's not going to play in that probably 6th row because of Cullen's that seen as that main man in that role, and then it'll be I'd say it'll be Jack Taylor to start beside him because Jack Taylor, in fairness, has really kicked on the last 2-3 weeks with Ipswich. And yeah, Andrew Moore, to be honest with you, Dave, I was shocked to see him in the squad yesterday. Like usually I would be buzzing to see Andy in the squad because everyone knows how much I rate him. Someone commented, I think I sent it yesterday by comment on the Facebook. I know someone who'll be happy over this. But like I just can't get any excitement over because I just know he's not going to play him. I just know he's just going to be there, and he's just going to be there to be. He'll look all great in training. He'll probably be. The reality is he's probably the best trip player in training. He probably tears everyone apart in training, but he won't play him on the match day because he's too small. He's too small. We can't play him. And then the reality is I can understand like these sort of games. We're not going to have any possessions. So what's Andy going to do sitting on his own half? Like he needs to be up in positions where he can put balls in behind or take the ball in the half turn and make something happen. But I just think like very strange about Alan Brown not getting picked, who's playing really well. I thought he would have went for an Alan Brown over Moran, which makes probably more sense with this squad because he's that kind of midfielder that's high energy, gets about, puts tackles in, and obviously his size wise he's a lot bigger than Andy Moran. But and then he said Brown's been struggling with injuries, but like he's been playing basically every game for Middlesbrough, has done really, really well. He didn't play the other night, but he was still on the bench. I'm guessing that was probably due to a knock or rotation, but like I guarantee you he'll start for Middlesbrough tomorrow, or he'll play at least like half an hour. And this sort of thing, if he's doing that well, surely you must be picked. Like I just don't understand why he. Like I'm sure that's maybe why Andy Moore might have been in because of him missing out or something. But like it would have been a bit depressing if we just seen Andy Moore's in the Alan Brown maybe instead of Andy Moore. But yeah, very strange midfielders. Do you have any issues with the midfielders, Dave?
I go with you. I mean, and yet again, I'll expand on this when we go through the squad, but it just seems a bit of a mess, to be honest with you. Yeah, Conor Coventry, I think this is the first time in a very long time I think he's been picked, if he has been picked before.
I don't think he's ever been
The
picked
Beckley.
for our official squad before, to be honest.
Yeah. Will Smallbone wasn't picked. Is he injured or is he?
Yeah, I remember he done his hamstring. He's out for quite. He's out for a good few months. A bit of the Rocco Vata situation. Probably be 10 weeks or
Oh,
something like that.
that is unfortunate. Yeah, I mean, the midfield is what it is. Midfield is our weakest position, as it always has been. You know, he now, as I said before, like Jason Malumbi, it seems to be the main man. Can't live without him. You know, if there's a percentage that he's going to play, we're going to play him. You know, Mark Sykes obviously has a knock there, and he's pretty much going to be out. It doesn't make any sense because, as you said, Andy Moran's not going to play. You're not going to play him against Portugal at home. You're not going to play him against the big lads against Hungary. I mean, give him a go. I would. You know, the last thing they're expecting is this little fella coming on here and kind of turn him inside out. You know, surprise him a little bit, but he's not. He likes the out physical side of things. He prefers the guile over the craft. So Andy Moran's not really in. Maybe, I don't know, maybe because he's ran out of names. That's no disrespect. I don't mean that to be disrespectful to Andy Moran. I know you rate him highly as a football, and he does have lots of, all joking aside, he's lots of ability, but yeah, he's going to play in these games.
It's a horses for courses sort of situation, isn't it? And then the one player I've said horse course, but we'll get on to that, isn't in the squad. But actually, because I was saying, was the saying to you, DVS or someone else, like it's like if he really wanted Andy Moran to be playing, he would have picked him to play against the two Armenia games because he would have tore Armenia apart. Simple as he would have made a muck of Armenia and he would have made things happen in them sort of games. And decides, oh no, I'll play Jack Taylor, who isn't a creative player beside Ferguson. Maybe that would have been the sort of idea. Maybe if you go, I'll play a front two and I'll play Moran in behind for Ferguson in that 4-4-2, that'll make more sense. But
that's where that was a game of raw footballing ability because Armenia are a poor side. I don't care what anyone says. I don't mean to be disrespectful for Armenia, but they are a poor side. When they have time when they had time on the ball in Yerevan, and literally, oh, the guys over there, I'm going to hit it over, and he blems it into the crowd, and it's like that, and because the Irish lads are petrified, because we're shitting ourselves and we're standing off everybody, and literally there's no one on. Remember, we was just sitting there. There was a fucking miss kick, bang. You think these guys are poor, right? They can't even pass it like a simple pass, but we made them look like Brazil 1970. But that's where, yeah, you're right. That's where you get the little fella going in, who's fearless, who's young, who to play like that, you have to be confident. You have to be confident in your own ability. Fucking let him play. Then supply the balls to the big man. But no, it's just yet again, Conor. No direction, no plan, no idea really what's going on here. Let's have a look at the attackers. Obviously, can't really argue with that either. Maybe Johnny Kenny feels he's a little bit aggrieved because he is actually in form, although he did have well, you can't blame on him. The whole team had a stinker again. Midtjylland, but you took great delight in, didn't you? Martin O'Neill getting stuffed. And was it It's Norway, is it?
No, Danish team. Midtjylland or Danish.
Daneland, are they? Okay. That winds people up when I say Daneland instead of Denmark. Yeah. Johnny Kenny probably feels a little bit aggrieved. Obviously, Evan Ferguson might come back for the second game, if we're being realistic. Mikey Johnston.
He's doing very well at club level, in fairness, but never does it for Ireland.
He's starting to put it together, yeah. Well, he never really gets a chance for Ireland because when he does well at club level, he doesn't get picked.
Yeah. That is true. That is true.
Yeah, I don't really see an issue with that. Maybe Johnny Kenny will be on standby, I'd imagine, and he'll probably come in for Evan Ferguson. I know Adamida scored for Swansea on the weekend, although they lost and the fans don't seem to be too impressed with him, which I think is unfair to Adamida, to be honest.
It's only just in the door.
Yeah, how do you feel about the attackers?
Yeah, I do agree. I do think Johnny. Obviously, I've always said Sinclair Armstrong should be in the squad for these sort of games because he's actually playing really well at the moment. And I've seen the whole media before outcry over Johnny Kenny this, Johnny Kenny that. Like, I want Johnny Kenny to be in a squad. I think he deserves to be in a squad. But I think the outpour is a bit over the top. Is it because he used to play for Shamrock Rovers in the League of Ireland last season and he's playing for Celtic, and Celtic is all Irish contingent? Like, the reality is they played Falkirk last, Wednesday, scored twice. It's equivalent to scoring against 2 goals against Drogheda United, like, in all honesty. Like, so you kind of have to put that sort of thing with a pinch of salt. We do know Heimer hates the Scottish League, and then he scored the big goal against Rangers, which is, in fairness, was a great result, great goal, played very well. But like, the outpour, I think, is over. It's a bit like he scored like 2 hat-tricks in both games, and it's like he's like what Troy Parrott was doing. Remember at the start of the season where we were scoring like 2 goals every game in the start of the season in the qualifiers and then in the league. So I do think Johnny deserves to be in the squad, but the reality is, like, I'm just sick of the 3 strikers that are there in terms of they're too similar. They just all want to like drop deep ish and to get the ball in the feet. We've known the running behind. We've known it's going to cause a really nuisance to the defenders in that aspect. So I'm quite reality is like, and then he kept going on about Johnny Kenny being on standby. But like, I know Bristol City, but if Sinclair Armstrong scores for Bristol City tonight and gets man of the match, is he suddenly overtaking Johnny Kenny on the standby list? Because it's all about who scores in the last game rather than who fits opposition better, which I do think is an indictment on the manager. Because, like, what if Johnny Kenny, because he got taken off at halftime last night, and what about if he doesn't start on the weekend for Celtic and plays 20 minutes and nothing happens? And then, say, after the international break, Ian Nacho comes back and Ian Nacho's starting again for Celtic and Johnny Kenny doesn't get a run of games. Like, is that the way we're going to look at it? Are we just going to take everything in the short term rather than who might suit each opposition? So yeah, I'm just disappointed in that aspect. I just think it's too easy to keep the 3 lads together, or who's doing what and who's doing this. And like, I do think I would have called a ball. I would have picked 4 forwards in all honesty with you. And I do think there's too many centre backs in our squad, to be honest with you. I don't see why Jimmy Dunn is making another squad just to be there. Because is it because he doesn't?
Don't upset Declan now.
But Jimmy Dunn is good, but he's not in a great form at the moment. QPR are going through a terrible run, and I just don't understand the whole preface behind it. Like, I'm just a bit confused. Obviously, Matt Doherty isn't back in time anyway, but he didn't mention Matt Doherty in the press. Usually he'd go through every position and go through each player, and he didn't do that yesterday, so it was a bit confusing in that aspect. But yeah, there's not.
Let's be honest. let's be honest. This is a manager that's checked out. I'm going to say it. I think he's checked out. I think it's very. Maybe you don't want to go as strongly as me on it, but I think he's checked out. I think it's just very. There you go. There's your squad. Let's have it. He's going into these two games with nothing. No momentum. I don't care that we beat Armenia.
Mm-hmm.
The way we beat them, we only beat them because he went down to 10 men. Let's be honest. It was putrid, the performance. It was dreadful. Any sort of momentum we had going into Portugal, that we took away from Portugal, the 1-0 loss, was completely evaporated. The way he set the team up against Armenia, the way we played against Armenia, it was dreadful. It was dreadful. Not one person took that as a win of confidence. I get it. If you're winning games, right? If we played terribly, let's say in the group, and we won 4 out of 4, but we were playing dreadful, lucky to win. That's something. That's a bit of a like, winning is a habit. So's losing. But it's like we kind of just stumble in from one result to the next and one game to the next, and the squad seems to fumble from one squad to the next. Like there doesn't seem to be any consistency, any plan. There's no momentum going here. If you look at some of the squads, previous Ireland squads back in the day, maybe under Mick, you look at that and go, how did they beat? Other than maybe Roy Keane, and like, how the fuck did they get that result? Whatever, because they had momentum. They had belief. They believed in the manager. The manager believed in them. There was trust, responsibility. Everyone stood up, and there was momentum. You don't have any of that with this Ireland team. And we just pointed out, we pointed out a few examples there as to why there's just nothing really makes any sense. And it just seems to be a bit copy and paste now. Like he's given it the large one in he's saying we will qualify. And that's not what he said. He said it beforehand. Now he's saying it now. No, we'll still qualify 2 wins. I don't know. Do you think it's almost toxic positivity?
No, I think yes. He just has to stand by. He can't go. It's the sort of thing you just have to. It's the sort of thing. It's like an online influencer that's on steroids, but they always that they're not on steroids. Sort of thing. You have to just stick with it, and you just have to continue to lie. And even if he's not that confident, he has to just stick with it. But yeah. Justin, like I don't think he's checked out as such or like that extent, because I do think he still thinks we have a chance of qualifying, particularly how it goes to result in Armenia, because it is possible that we get, if Hungary drop points in Armenia, it is possible that we could get 4 points in the last 2 games. Like it's not impossible, because this Ireland squad is capable of it, because we have the players, and the rest of the teams in our group aren't as special. But as you said, like I was giving out about performances last year because they were so bad in reality where we were at in the stage of the group or in this thing, and I said we need a bit of positivity to look forward to. I know we were winning games,
Yeah.
but if we had them performances now, because our performances have got worse and the results have got worse in that extent. But I just think I just don't know with him anymore, because he's talking about we're going to qualify, and then he's saying about players that he brought into the last camp, saying that they're not ready to be internationals. They need more time in the squad to become internationals. But then why is he not picked? And I'm just so, because I just can't trust him anymore. I have a dog slam at the door here. I'll have to pause.
I was going to say, do you want to let me hold on? And we're back. I'm leaving that in. I could see the little tail wagging in between the. It's like that has to be. Anyway, no. I mean, like obviously you gotta say it's brilliant. It's fantastic. Otherwise, what are you there for? And I do understand that you're playing the game with the media and all of that. But I just think. Maybe I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope we qualify, and I hope I can turn around and say, do you know what, Heimer, I got it wrong. I got it completely wrong, mate. Well done to you. And I give all credit if we turn around and win twice. But it's not in our. I mean, it's not even in our power, really, is it? Like that's the league table at the moment. And I mean, if Hungary win against Armenia, even by 1 goal, we have to not lose to Portugal, and then we have to beat Hungary by 2 goals, don't we? And then whatever they win by, we're already like our starting point is we have to win by 2 goals as it is, but then whatever more they win by in Armenia, you add that to the tally. So if they win 2-0, we've got to win 3-0, and etc. That's how it works, right? Have I got that completely wrong?
Yeah, but it's he tried to explain yesterday, but he was just like focus. I was just thinking, just focus on your own Heimer. Like, just focus on what we need to do. focus on beating Portugal. That's what all we need to do is focus on that, and then hopefully things will come from there. But reality is like we could get 4 points in the last two games and still not qualify. That's
Yep.
that's how bad of a position we've put ourselves in. Like that's really disappointing. And
Mm.
like you sent it in earlier, Dave, you said earlier, like this is where I start to see the like things start to fiddle out like a bit when you're seeing him saying it's difficult when the media is not optimistic, but the fans are really optimistic and show their support. Like, and it's like what like the media haven't been really harsh on them. The media have just said that the really result against Armenia, despite winning, was an embarrassing performance, and it's one of the worst performances I've seen from the Irish side at the Viva. Probably the worst since we lost 6-1 to Germany at home. And at least we had to say that day we at least scored the one goal against the reigning world champions Armenia. And like the fans will always support Ireland no matter what. We could be what Armenia are, never qualifying for any tournament and pot four team, and we'd still support the team no matter what because we're just a bit delusional. Like because the fact is we're still in this group, and that's what makes us think that we still have a chance. Because the thing is we still have a chance, which is crazy to think. But yeah, I just don't know because I think like the reality is like as well. Hungary and Portugal know exactly what they're going to come up against Ireland. They're going to see a 5-4-1 that is going to try and hurt them on the counter attack with Festi and our Bene, and hope that maybe we get a piece in Hungary where Ryan Manning scores, or we score from a corner, or we score from a long throw in. Like, there's nothing I don't think that these teams can't prepare for and be able to tactically outclass us because I don't see an element of surprise of where he's going to set up differently because it's just so predictable to how we are at the moment.
Yeah, I agree. And, I saying the media are being negative. I think the media have been very fair with him, very fair. You have to give us something, I say us. When we're fans, we're kind of fans on media. We're feed you. We're to feed you. No, but like you have to give us something, like I'm not going to go through old ground again. We explained earlier on in the video and past videos, like some of the squad, the Kevin O'Toole thing doesn't make sense. Players being messed around. The June friendly against Luxembourg, it made no sense. I know, you were very calm about that in June, but it's maddening because look, we've been watching football for a very long time. I hate this whole thing that managed some, and to be fair, he's been quite tepid in his response to the media. To be fair to Hamer, like he strikes me as a gentleman. He seems like a very nice guy. Very, no one. I don't think anyone ever have a bad word to say about him on a personal note. Like, he seems like a really nice fella. So then I try not to make these things personal at all. So this is merely professional criticism. But you have to give us something. Like nothing seems to make sense. It made sense at the beginning, and then it's just kind of unraveled towards the end. And I think as the job's gone on, it's got worse. It's got more incoherent in terms of squad selections. And yeah, as I said, there's absolutely no momentum going into this. There's nothing to give in. Like this squad of players, this group of players, there is enough with a plan, with momentum and belief that can qualify, could probably, challenge to win this group, right? That could get a result, could have got 4 points against Portugal. With a bit of luck, don't get me wrong, with a bit of luck, Portugal by far.
I do think there's enough in this squad that the reality is we could be sitting on right now. You'd be on 6 points from the first two games, and say 9 points because losing to Hungary or Portugal away and losing the way we lost could happen. No matter how good of an Ireland team you have,
100%.
that can happen.
100%.
So we could say we could be on 9 points at this stage instead of 4, and you're still within a chance of topping the group if you go and beat Portugal at home. And then I know technically we wouldn't win the group overall because Hungary away. But the reality is we could have went to Hungary away and already have top spot or second place wrapped up because the reality is we just would have won the games we were expected to win.
Yeah.
And I do think maybe he's taken Heimer saying this because the fact is that we've all kind of reacted quite negatively to the Hungary home game because the fact that we put out an embarrassing first half and we got it back to 2-2 against 10 men. But like we should have won that game. Like reality, it was not. In fairness, I've said it since the start. A draw wasn't enough in that game, and we're playing catch up still because of it. But yeah, I just don't know. Like I just think he's just being so in his like I think he's trying to call us bluff in a sense, is that we don't know what's going on when our two eyes know what's going on. Like I know the players are happy, seem to be happy with them and the staff, and the players still have that bit of confidence in themselves, and they all know there's a chance and there's enough in that group to get through. But like the player in reality is like it's not all the players haven't performed in certain games. Like Armenia away is still the players. Although I do think the tactics are subpar, I do think the players have to show more than what they did. They probably thought that Armenia would be a lot easier of a game than what it was because of how poor Armenia have been over the last couple of years. But it's just disappointing, isn't it?
It's very disappointing. Like, sometimes the players will play in spite of the manager. They haven't even done that. Some of them being very, very poor. Just a lack of coherency. I think that's a word throughout this campaign, and and yet we're still in it somehow, which is mad. And you probably imagine that we're sitting at the end of like. We get the playoffs. So we go, Hamer, no, get him another contract. That was the thing. There's talk of another contract up until up until the Armenia debacle. And to be honest with you, I kind of, before this group, I kind of would have supported that. I would have supported talks, by the way. I'm not saying he did enough to warrant a contract at that stage, but maybe to open talks. Like, look, this seems to be going okay so far. Maybe we can, would you be thinking of staying on if it continues to go really well? And then it just nosedived. And you're right about the Hungary game, and the Armenia game was just absolute shambles. And and the tactically and the players' performance, and you could tell psychologically they were beaten. Remember I was sitting there, and this is what I'm talking about. Never mind your Y Scout. You were sitting there next to me, Conor, in Yerevan. You could feel the confidence drain out of the Ireland team, couldn't you? You could feel it. And you thought, oh, we're in trouble here. You just knew. Like that's the eye test. That's the acid test. That's a feeling. And that's one thing that surprises me. And I think this is an issue we have with a lot of data-driven managers, is that they don't go with their feeling. They go by the stats. This nonsense of, well, in the last two games, and this is a quote, we conceded 0.5 goals in the last two games. Yes, but we were shit against Armenia. We were dreadful.
We haven't conceded 0.5 goals. If we conceded 0.5 goals in the last two games, we would have kept a clean sheet in both games. The half a goal, like what is the? Like obviously, it's probably lost in translation the way he's meant to say it. Coming out of 0. I think he means like what 50% of the games we didn't concede a goal. Like what 0.5 goals? And the thing is, I don't even think he's that data driven, because he's that sort of manager that kind of just. I think he goes with what he sees, like that 4-4-2 system he's going with. Now it's a 5-4-1. I do not think he's that data driven, because I think if he was more data driven in certain aspects, we'd probably be better. Because there's certain places you're thinking tactically we look so far behind in some aspects, but like the reality is he has 2 games to save his job. I think he's 2 games really, or Dave, to save his job at the top level of football. Because if as much as we could say we've been a poor side, we are still a big country. Everyone knows Ireland. Everyone knows some of our players. Everyone knows, like, he'll never get a job anywhere close to this ever again. Like, we're seeing Indonesia being linked to him. Like, that's the sort of level he'll end up going to if this doesn't work out. So there is a lot of pressure on him.
Like, you could explain, you could explain Portugal 1-0 away. Fair enough. You can explain that 100%. I think that the tactics were spot on for that. Defend, and hope to get something on the break. Problem was we were just so bad on the break. But anyway, you can even defend the whole 2-2 at home to Hungary, right? To a degree. But you can't defend 2-1 against Armenia. And if anyone watches that game knows it should have been 5-6-1. Crashed the crossbar, had a goal disallowed. Shocking. And the 1-0 at home, if you look into it, against Armenia, you look at that, you look at the shots, and you look at the stats, straight down, you go, well, they had a man sent off. You can't explain that. So you are correct. I think he needs to pull a rabbit out of the hat here. I hope he does. Listen, I hope he does. I just can't see it happening. As I said, there's no momentum.
Yeah.
There's nothing going into this, and I just feel like he knows the gig is up. The players know the gig is up. The fans know the gig is up. I'm not like I'm that is. You know what I mean? It happens.
We spoke about this before. It's like the whole thing is like, has Killian Phillips suddenly stopped playing football or something? Like, none of us wanted to think he's ready to be in the squad yet, as obviously he's playing for St Mirren in the Scottish League, so it's not the standard really. But like what, like is he the skip Armenia coming on the last 15 minutes off the bench? And obviously he didn't do anything when he came on. He struggled, but he's not the reason why we lost 2-1 in Armenia. We were already 2-1 down at that stage. Should have been 3. So like, so Killian Phillips suddenly come out. Andrew Moran is suddenly overtaken him in Heimer's eyes. Connor Coventry suddenly taken him. Alan Brown probably would have suddenly overtaken him. Like, what's going on? Heimer, you gave him half an hour off the bench against Senegal, give him 60 minutes against Luxembourg away, and put him in the squad for the first 2 games, and brought him on against Armenia, and then suddenly now he can't even get near the squad when we have injuries in midfield.
Yeah.
Like, is he just the scapegoat you're going to take? Are you suddenly decided since Armenia he's not good enough? But he was good enough to play 2 games in June. He was good enough to even make that squad. Like, I think he's seen good enough now. Like, simple things like that. Even like Joe Hodge, I know he's strange the way he's playing 1 game and not even being in the squad the next and straight back in. But like, very confusing. Just very confusing. I know we're talking probably too much about Heimer, but yeah. And even like obviously Rocco Vata, we would have probably hoped would have came into the squad, who's obviously out for probably 10 weeks with a hamstring injury. Would have been, maybe he thought that maybe that's why Andy Moore's in the squad. Maybe he wanted to bring in one young, exciting talent, and obviously are probably our 2 most exciting young talents that are kind of in senior football in that extent. So maybe he was going to pick Rocco, and then he said, no, I'll go with Andy instead. But yeah, and obviously Sammy Smodix has missed out through injury as well in them sort of 10 positions. But yeah, it's quite disappointing, isn't it?
Absolutely. Right. So the Portugal team has been announced within the last a little while. Still no sign, pardon me, of the Hungary team. But let's have a look at the Portugal squad. We got Diogo Costa, Jose Sa. Sorry, Jose Sa. Yes, Jose.
Yeah.
Rui Silva, Diogo Dallo, Nelson Semedo, João Cancelo, Mateus Nunes, Ruben Diaz, Gonçalo Inacio, Antonio Silva, Renato Vega, João Paulina, Ruben Neves, João Neves, Vitina, Bruno Fernandes, Bernardo Silva, Pedro Gonçalves, João Felix, Francisco Trincao, Francisco Canchel, Rafael Leo, Pedro Conceição. Oh, fucking hell, man. Carlos, I want to apologize to any Portuguese people watching. Carlos Forbes, Cancel Ramos, and the Mr. Stockholm Syndrome himself.
Why is Jade Numa's name on that list? Do you see Jade Numa's name there? Don't get it. Rafael Leo.
Yeah.
Everyone says he's like Rafael Leo.
Okay. That must be young person joke. And of course, Mr. Stockholm Syndrome, Cristiano Ronaldo at the end there. Apology. If it makes anyone who's Portuguese feeling better, people get my name wrong. They say Dune, or they spell it without the E at the end. David June. Oh. So I feel your pain. Anyway, hell of a strong squad there, isn't it?
Yeah. Big thing though. One superstar missing. Nuno Mendes. I like to call him Nuno Mendes. Is this how you say it in Portuguese? Best left back in the world. One of the best players in the world, probably overall. So obviously, massive that he's going to be missing for them. I don't know who they'll go at left back. Will they put Diogo Dallo maybe at left back, or put Semedo at left back? Interested who they'll go at left back against us, because if Armenia at home, they'll beat them probably by 10-0. And then the big player coming back in for them obviously is João Neves, one of the best midfielders in the world. So they'll have that PSG pivot back of himself and Vitinha in the midfield too, which will be huge for them. But yeah, it's just such a good team. Like, it's ridiculous quality. But nothing. Their squad's not England's squad, or the squad's not France squad, or the squad isn't Brazil's squad, but it's still one of the top 5 nations in the world. It's ridiculous talent. Hopefully Ronaldo has an off day, because I thought he actually was all right. He actually was quite decent against us the last day. Like, he had that outrageous effort off his left foot to hit the post that nearly went back up, and then Bernardo Silva missed the open goal from it. Like Ronaldo, obviously he missed the penalty, but I did think he actually was quite. He offered a bit of something from up front that last, maybe because we were so deep and he had so much time and space when no one was pushing up on him. But hopefully he has an off day like he did the last time. Remember we played them in Dublin last time, and Shane Duffy had him in the chokehold in midair. So yeah, it's just a ridiculous talent in that squad. But hopefully, it's just annoying. Like, why do Hungary not have the injuries that we have, or why they've like, oh, I don't want to sound bad, but if who did Liverpool play this weekend?
City away.
Oh, if Rodri like somehow stood in the back of his ankle and he got a dead leg and he couldn't walk for 15 days or something like that happened to the extent, or he had a really bad bruised leg because someone kicks him in the face or something. I wouldn't mind that. Like, or the thing is, Kirk guys won't be playing anyway, so he'll be sitting warm on the bench. Maybe he might pull a hamstring once he's warming up down the sideline. But yeah, hopefully, I'm not wishing injury upon anyone, but maybe a Mark Sykes situation where someone puts a cut in his shin and he can't move. But yeah, I'm sure the squad will be full strength, as good as full strength. Like,
yeah, and of course we don't have the Hungary team just yet, but of course we're going to need a miracle at home. You never know. You get a win against Portugal at home, 1-0. Last minute, Evan Ferguson coming on his crutches, and sorry, it's just that image I have of the manager said, boss, I can't play. Get on there, please. You never know. Look, you never know. It's going to be a special night on the 13th in Dublin. It's going to be a Thursday night, but it's going to be a special night, and it's going to be sold out crowd.
yeah,
I'm sure they're not all there to see Ronaldo. But yeah, I mean, who knows? And of course, in Hungary away is a whole different thing. But like that's where we're at with the senior team. I think we spent enough time. Just going to touch a little bit on the under 21s, talk a little bit through these, and then have a look at the England squad. Of course, they play England and Andorra. In goal, they got Noah Johnny. I hope I'm saying it right. Aaron Maguire, yep. Conor Walsh in defence, James Abankwah, Conor McManus, Jacob Slater, Sean Grehan, Alex Murphy, David Akubi. I hope I'm saying it right. Cathal McCarthy. Midfield, Adam Murphy, Harry Vaughan, Jack Moorhouse, Darius Lipsuch, Romeo Akachua, or Jamie Mullins, Akachuku, sorry, Jacob Devaney. Forwards, Mark O'Mahony, Joe Gardner, Trent Coney-Doherty, Joe Hawkins, sorry. Sorry, it's the graphic. You
need to put it full screen and you'll see it properly.
Yeah, I mean, very small screen. Joe Hakiki, is it?
Jad Hakiki,
sorry. Yeah, it's just the font. It's the font, lads. I'm blaming the font. Mace Amelia and Tommy Lonergan. And of course, still no this paperwork hasn't come through yet. Oh god. Owen Elding as well. Yeah. Still waiting for his paperwork.
Hopefully March.
Yeah, decent squad there.
Yeah,
taking on
squad,
England. Yeah, you're going to be in England for that, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to be in England next Friday, so hopefully there'll be a few Irish out there at it. But yeah, obviously it's a strong squad. England will be in the squad, which we'll put up in a sec. But yeah, great to see Jack Moorhouse finally get his paperwork to come in because he'll be such an asset. He's an unbelievable player. He's different gravy. Like play probably a number 8 or number 10, pick up the ball in the middle of the pitch. One of them midfielders that just runs through everyone. He's just such a good ball carrier, and especially when you're playing the likes of England, who might have a lot of possession or will try and like break Ireland down. He's sort of midfielder, can pick up the ball. He'd run past a few men, might get fouled, get Ireland up the pitch. So he'd be such an asset to have. Obviously, everyone would have seen Jacob Devaney's goal actually the other night against Notts County. Did you see that where he ran about 60 yards and smashed it in the bottom corner? Outrageous goal from Jacob. Obviously, other lads coming back in. Great to see Joe Gardner back in. Was injured for the last squad. Actually, was injured for the first two squads on loan at Mansfield from Nottingham Forest. Very highly thought of at Forest. And he just needs a bit of luck with injuries because he's scored some outrageous goals for Mansfield when he's played this season. He's just struggled with injuries. Obviously, Tommy Lonergan's come back in doing really, really well for Waterford in the last couple of weeks, scoring a couple of goals. Obviously, probably replacing Michael Noonan, who probably would have kept his place if he didn't get injured. Conor McManus at Brentford, not the Monaghan footballer, done really well for the 21s actually in March. He scored 2 headers against Scotland, or in one of the games, I can't remember who it was, Scotland or someone else. He scored 2 headers in one game. So he's come back in after being injured for the whole start of the season. Hopefully he might actually get a chance at some stage this season with Brentford, with having the Irish contingent as his manager. I'm just thinking, is there anyone else that's a fresh face into the squad? Harry Vaughan is back in after being injured last time. A few lads out injured. Obviously, Rocco Vat is the big, massive miss out through injury. James McManus, who was called up the last time, got injured last weekend for Bows in their last game of the season. He's out. Obviously, Jade Newman's brother Franco Uma is still injured. Leon Adiyendi, who had probably one of the best 1 minute cameos you'll ever see, pick up the ball around past line and nearly got a gorgeous assist towards hamstring at the same time. He's obviously still out with a hamstring injury. So we've two lads out with two. We've actually three Irish internationals as such, 21s and seniors, out with really bad hamstring injuries, which is not a good indictment of Irish football at the moment. It's probably just total unluck and no luck. As but yeah, it's a really strong squad. The only worry is a lot of them lads are not getting the minutes they want at club level despite their talent. I do think we'll probably start to see Romeo might start to get minutes, which Southampton's first team very soon. With Will still getting sacked, the 20-ones manager, I believe, has a decent chance of getting the job if they can keep winning. And supposedly, from all I've heard, he's really, really pushed to try and get Will Still to play Romeo this season because he thinks so highly of him, which would be some achievement to break into, you'd say, on paper, one of the best squads in the Championship, which is almost a Premier League squad. And if he can get into that squad, I've spoke about him in the past. He's capable of doing so much. So hopefully we'll see maybe Romeo get more minutes this camp because I think he deserves it. But yeah, it's a really talented squad, and hopefully they can do the business against them lot and then Andorra.
Yeah, let's have a look at the England squad. In goal, James Beadle, Tommy Stetford, Tommy Simkin. Then you have Josh. Oh, God,
you don't have to go through the whole squad, Dave. Don't worry. You don't have to go through the whole squad. I don't think. Will we just go through the standout names?
We'll go through the standout names, yeah.
Yeah, don't worry. Tommy Simkin, actually, he's on loan. I was actually saying this the other night on the stream to Martin. He's on loan at Leyton Orient. Came in there from Stoke City went in to be their number one. And Killian Cahill, who was in the last Ireland under-21 camp, has taken his place as number one. So fair play, Killian. You've taken an England under-21 spot as the number one at their club. Josh Akpom at Chelsea is Irish eligible through his mother, which is quite interesting that he's come into the squad. Obviously, some big names. Lewis Hall at Newcastle, brilliant player. Rico Lewis at City, brilliant player. Joe Bellingham, we all know, can play for Ireland through his grandparents on his father's side. Lewis Miley, really good player at Newcastle. And then the forwards are quite strong, obviously. Tyler Dibling at Everton, not really played a huge amount with Everton, but really good player. Tyreek George and Jamie Gittins, both at Chelsea. Josh King at Fulham's doing really well this season. Divine Mwamba scored a hat-trick I seen last weekend for Stoke against Bristol City. And then Ethan Narweri at Arsenal as a really good player. I'm surprised they actually haven't put Max Diamond in it at Arsenal, the 15-year-old at this stage. Maybe just they want to fast-track him too soon because of all the hype and all that. But yeah, it is, in fairness, that's a really, 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 really strong squad for this age group. It's not as good as their last 21s group, to be honest with you. It's not the same level of strength, but it's still the sort of thing that they have a really good group of players that would be a real test of this Ireland squad. I know Max Allende, whatever you call him, is unknown at Watford from Man City, but thankfully he's a centre half and he doesn't get in over James Abankwis, which is a good indictment that Ireland has a player that's better technically, but you'd say on paper anyway, than the Watford's loanee from Man City. So it is in fairness, it's a really good squad, that England group. It's going to be a real test, particularly away from home in Birmingham, where it'll be a big pitch and they'll try and probably use their wingers to try and hurt us. But I'm sure Jim Crawford will have them set up very tactically well, and to hopefully hit them on the counter attack with your Mason Melia, with Trent Conor-Doherty, with Jack Moorhouse, and I'm sure we'll have enough to hopefully pull off a shock victory, which wouldn't be a shock to me if we pulled off, because I know there's so much talent, and particularly this age group betting can happen. And you see with the 17s that are there, England's under 17s lost their opening group game against Venezuela 3-0. Their 17s, that's in the Euro qualifiers, didn't get past the first rounds, lost to Scotland and Sweden, and drew at Lithuania. So yeah, things are looking good for underage perspective, Dave. Obviously, we have the 17s playing again tomorrow against Uzbekistan, who beat Paraguay the other day, which will be a real test. And really, a point would seal a place in the knockout stages for Ireland. But obviously, you want to go on top of this group. You want to beat Uzbekistan tomorrow, but they'll be a big step up from Panama, being honest with you. But yeah, I can't wait for that. And hopefully, 21's next Friday. The tickets are still available if anyone wants to get tickets for. You'll see it all over social media. The Ireland versus England tickets.
There you go. Thank you for that, Conor. Our youth football roundup, I suppose. Right, let's leave it there. Thank you very much for watching, Conor. Thank you very much again. Don't forget, we will be in Dublin. We will be in Budapest. Got my accreditation thing. You got that sorted, Conor? They told me that told me I'm eligible. But yeah, we will be in Budapest. We will be in Dublin. Come say hello if you see us. Of course, Conor will be going up to St Andrews in Birmingham City's ground. To see the under-21s against England as well. It should be a bit of crack as well, we hope. Don't forget, you can head over to our Facebook, Instagram, and a Twitter account. If you haven't already, please do like the video. Please do subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're listening or watching us on Spotify, please do give us a 5-star review, because it really does help. It really, really does help. And if you want to give us a little bit of extra support, you can make a one-off donation in the coffee link below, KOFI. Or you can subscribe to us, $4.99 per month. Lansdowne Roar Plus, $4.99 per month. A little bit of extra roar on your cornflakes. And yet again, it really does help, and your support is greatly, greatly appreciated. Right, we're going to leave it there, guys. Thank you. We'll see you on the next one. Come on, you boys in green.